I'm back at beautiful Chez Josephine Restaurant on Theater Row with Play by Play, our show about shows. I'm joined by my friend and New York One colleague, Frank DiLella, and we're here to talk about some of the latest hot news on Broadway. And the hottest ticket right now, and could be sold out even before it begins, is revival of the Harold Pinter play, Betrayal.
Betrayal, that's right.
Directed by Mike Nichols and starring
Rachel Weisz and Daniel Craig. Rachel making her Broadway debut, Patrick, and Daniel Craig, of course, returning to Broadway. We last saw him on Broadway with Hugh Jackman. In A Steady Rains, it's Scott Rudin's new show. Scott Rudin is a very smart producer, as we both know. And Mike Nichols, fresh from his Tony win for the revival of Death of a Salesman just 2 seasons ago. It's a hot ticket. I mean, you cannot get a ticket for this
What's
show.
fascinating about it, I'm not quite sure, but I think this may be the first time that Mike Nichols has ever directed a Pinter play. I'm not sure about that, but I think so. And also the fact that after Death of a Salesman, he was almost going to retire. He was talking about it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Scott Rudin probably coaxed him back with this, and I think Scott's also responsible for this starry cast, which also includes Rafe Spall. And it is about betrayal. It's about a married couple, and it's told in reverse order, right?
Correct.
So it's sort of fascinating that a real-life married couple, like
Rachel
Daniel
Weisz
Craig
and
Rachel
Daniel
Weisz,
Craig, yes,
are actually playing this married couple in which this betrayal takes place.
Absolutely. And Betrayal aside, we were talking just off camera, Hedwig and the Angry Inch is finally going to come to Broadway. Neil Patrick Harris returning to Broadway in that show. Interesting choice. What do you think?
It is. It's got a great score. Loved the score by Stephen Trask, and it was written obviously by John Cameron Mitchell, who originated the role
and did the movie too.
Why do you suppose Neil Patrick Harris, who could probably have his choice of anything, chose this?
I think it's a challenge, and I think, you know, we've seen Neil so much with the Tonys in recent years, and also we saw him in Assassins. I believe he did Cabaret on Broadway as well. He did the tour of Rent at one point. This really is a challenge, and
it's a challenge because the character is
transsexual.
A German transsexual, right?
Yeah.
A German-born transsexual who ends up in a trailer park in Kansas?
I believe so. And I mean, talk about carrying the show musically. It's a rock musical. It's very exciting. I'm actually interested to see what Neil does with the role.
Do you think it'll be a hot ticket?
I think Neil has his groupies, and the theater community certainly is all about this show. It's a cult favorite, but also theater enthusiasts really do like this show. So we shall see.
And another one that's coming up very fast, that is Romeo and Juliet.
Right, Condola Rashad, fresh from The Trip to Bountiful, 2-time Tony nominee, has never won a Tony, but I think a Tony is in our future. The daughter of Felicia Rashad and Orlando Bloom playing Romeo. Yeah.
And this is obviously adds an interracial aspect to the play. It's obviously still the Shakespeare play. There's nothing that says that that the interracial aspect of it is specific to it.
Right.
But it must influence the interpretation
It's certainly
of it.
going to play a part. I mean, even with the signage, you see a Condola, African American female with a white male. It's definitely it's going to play a part in the show.
Sounds gorgeous.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you, Frank, for joining us.
Patrick.
And thank you. That's it for this edition of Play by Play. Meanwhile, you can always follow me at artinfo.com.